Let's talk about aging. What if getting old isn't what we think it is? Not just about your body wearing out, like an old car. A really fascinating new study suggests it might be something else entirely. A software problem. The idea is that our bodies age because they basically run out of instructions.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at the big age-old question of aging itself. Then we'll unpack this brand new theory of goal-directedness. After that, we dive into a really cool virtual experiment, figure out what it tells us about why things decline, and then, this is the best part, see how we might be able to hit the reset button. Finally, we'll think about what all this means for the future.
Okay, so to really get this new idea, we have to start with the puzzle it's trying to solve. For pretty much all of human history, we've been trying to figure out one of life's most basic processes.
It's the big one, right? The universal question. And for a long, long time, the scientific world has been split between two major ideas trying to answer.
So on one side, you've got the damage-based theories. This is the idea that we age from all the little bits of wear and tear our cells pick up over a lifetime. Just slow, accidental decay. Then on the other side, you've got the programmatic theories. These say aging is no accident at all. It's actually written right into our DNA, kind of like a built-in self-destruct timer.
Well, this new research comes in and throws a fascinating curveball into the whole debate. It says, what if we're looking at this all wrong? Maybe it's not our biological hardware that's the main problem. Maybe it's a glitch in the software that runs the whole show.
And that brings us to the absolute heart of this new idea. It completely reframes the problem of aging. So forget about random decay or some rigid genetic program. Instead, think about it as a loss of information, a loss of purpose.
The core idea is this. Our cells are like an incredible team of construction workers with one massive goal, to build a body. They're amazing at it. But what happens after the skyscraper is built? This theory suggests that without a new set of blueprints for maintenance, for repair, the system just loses its way, and the structure starts to fall apart. And this quote from the study really nails it. It's just like that construction crew that finishes the job and then has nowhere to go. It seems our cells need a continuous mission, a purpose, to keep everything in order. Without one, things just tend to degrade.
Now that is a pretty wild hypothesis. So how in the world do you test it? Well, you build a universe in a computer. The researchers designed this brilliant experiment using a virtual organism to see if the theory holds up.
Okay, so here's how they did it. They created a grid of these little virtual cells and gave them one single job: work together to form a smiley face. They used a process that's a lot like evolution to let the cells figure out the best way to do it. And then, here's the kicker. Once the smiley face was perfect, they just let the simulation keep running. They just watched to see what would happen next.
And the result was just mind-blowing. Once its main goal was finished, and with no new instructions, the smiley face started to age. One of its eyes just vanished. And get this, it happened without any external damage. No cosmic rays, no computer viruses. The system just started to fall apart on its own, all because its mission was complete.
Now, of course, the researchers checked other things too. They threw in stuff like genetic damage and communication problems, and yeah, as you'd expect, that sped up the aging process. But here's the really crucial part, that baseline. The aging happened anyway, even without those things. It tells us that while damage can make aging worse, it's not the root cause.
But that's not even the wildest part of the discovery. As this virtual smiley face started to decay, the researchers found something else, a kind of hidden memory that was still there.
This is incredible. Even after the eye was totally gone, when they analyzed the information flowing between the cells, they saw a ghost pattern of where the eye should be. It's like a phantom limb for a virtual organism. The original blueprint hadn't been totally erased, it was still hiding in the background. And this timeline just tells the story perfectly. You can see here, during development, it's a flurry of activity, tons of chatter as the cells work together to build the face. Then, at maturity, the job's done, so things get quiet. But then, as aging starts, look at that. The information flow ramps up again. It's like the cells know something's wrong and are trying to fix it, but they've lost that clear, coherent plan they once had. So this leads to a really exciting question. If the tissue remembers the original plan, even faintly, could we maybe give it a little nudge to rebuild? This is where the research gets really, really cool.
The scientists tried two different ways to fix the smiley face. The first was kind of a sledgehammer approach. Just take the whole area where the eye used to be and reset every single cell back to how it started. The second strategy was way more precise, almost like surgery. Find only the few cells that were in the wrong state and reset just those.
And the results? They weren't even close.
Resetting the whole area turned out to be just a temporary patch. The eye would come back for a bit, but then it would just disappear again, over and over. But that targeted approach, bingo, that worked. It was a sustainable, long-term fix.
In fact, when they really dialed it in, it took as few as 5 targeted interventions, just resetting a handful of the right cells to get that eye to regrow and actually stay there, making the whole structure stable for the long haul. Just 5.
So the huge takeaway here is that less is more. The best strategy wasn't a massive overhaul. It was a super precise, surgical reminder sent to just the right cells, especially the ones that form the border of the organ. It's all about reactivating the blueprint that's already there, not trying to rewrite the whole thing from scratch.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. What on earth could all these findings from a virtual smiley face mean for how we think about aging in the real world?
Well, this points to a massive shift in how we see things. The takeaways are huge. First, aging might really be an information problem, a software glitch, not just our hardware breaking down. Second, our bodies might actually have a dormant memory of how to be young and healthy. And third, this could open the door to a future of rejuvenation based on targeted informational therapies instead of just managing decline.
At the end of the day, this research is incredibly optimistic. It changes aging from being this unavoidable fate that we just have to accept into a dynamic process that we could actually influence. It suggests that maybe one day we could learn to speak the language of our cells and just gently remind them of the job they were born to do.
And that leaves us with this final, powerful question to think about. It really challenges us to think differently about what biology is capable of and what getting older even means. If aging is just about losing the instruction manual, maybe we can learn how to write a new final chapter.